Now this idiot is sitting over here and behind me. Just sitting there. Just sitting there. For no reason. Stalking me. I'm sitting in here in my car trying to do some work. Now he's backing up. He knows I'm in here. He knows I'm in this car. What do you think, James Henry? What do you think about the psychological craziness that I'm having to deal with? Huh, James? What do you think about it, James? He pulls up there and admires his castle. Is that what he's doing? Just sitting there, wondering what kind of game he can play next. How much more remorse and aggravation he can bring to my life. He's done put one brother to death by driving him off into a bad state of health. Now he's sitting there contemplating. They ain't gonna let that Donna Lester girl come up here, are they? Old Juby's still on probation. There ain't supposed to be no contact. I thought I had a castle that I could put any and everybody out here in. I wonder what's going on. The old devil's trying to think of the next scheme, the next plot. I'm surprised the horn ain't went off. It probably will before it's over with. Just sitting here. He may not have realized that I was sitting here because of the water driplets on the window. He'll get out there and drive around, get stuck. He's already had to get his son-in-law to pull him out 3 or 4 different times. Just an old man that don't have no life and don't know what to do with his life because he's so agitated and aggravated. He's so tormented, all he wants to do is torment other people. To where if they would have done the right thing towards putting their dogs up, taking care of the problem, towards what was initiated out here 4 years ago, towards fixing the cooker that the dogs had vandalized, everybody could be peaceful and neighborly. But no, we wasn't going to do that. That'd be too easy. This guy's a freaking, he's a creeper. He gives me the creeps. The way that he creeps around. Like he hadn't looked at that property, or like there's been big changes in that property. Nothing's changed. Every tree is still the same. Every twig is the same. There's been nothing added, nothing taken away. He's driven, he's possessed, he's obsessed. Ooh, I don't see Juby. I don't see Juby. How come I can't pick on Juby? So sad. So sad. And his wife goes down at Alamo Baptist Church, and whenever they have potlucks, big set downs, I found out through the grapevine that rather than her wait till everybody has eaten before you dig in to take seconds home, she'll dig in before anybody's ever ate towards taking big plates to Mr. Donald Ridgway and the Sheffield family. And them having all that money that they've stored back in all these banks after Ridgway ripped off his clientele up there in Chicago in the air conditioning, heat, and cooling business. Oh my God. So pathetic. All them cars over there, it's just a big front, just to make it look like that he's poor or that he's crazy. This guy is far from being poor, and he's far from being crazy. He knows just exactly what he's doing. And the judicial system in this county is allowing it. I'm really surprised he didn't lay down on the horn. Maybe he didn't see me in this car because of all the raindrops. But he's just like a creeper, a crawdad. He just crawls around looking. You know, the mail hadn't run out here now in probably 6 weeks, but he still goes to the mail 3 or 4 times a day. 3 or 4 times a day. Mailman only runs once a day. And usually it's somewhere between 12:30 and 2:30. Just about like clockwork. You can almost set your watch. But he'll come out here just for a reason to spy on Juby. This is the kind of torment that I've been dealing with since I've been back here now for 4 years. And Tommy Moore and the people in this county has put up with it. Because they get their kicks. They get their laughs. This is their form of entertainment towards watching me being agitated and being tormented by this family. And it's not just one family. It's not just 2 families. It's several families. Some of them have stopped coming by, and they're not as obvious in coming out here and throwing eggs at the building or throwing beer bottles or beer cans, stopping out here and revving up their motor or honking their big horns or taking their 4-wheel drive trucks and brake torching it and spinning out here. Talk about being targeted. Been targeted by the whole neighborhood. But the leader of the bunch is Donald Ridgway and the Sheffield family. This guy right down the road here, the one that bought David Willis's old house. I don't know if you can see that white truck right there or not. He made a statement, Mr. Hotto. He's not from here. He's an outsider. He's from Orlando, Florida, down by Mickey Mouse. But he made a statement such as, "Would you be? I don't know how come they're wanting to give you such of a hard time around here." Right. After 4 years of this intolerableness, and you ain't been able to read through the lines by now? You don't have a clue, do you, Mr. Hotto? The reason why that they're making my life hard down here. Don't have a clue, do you, Mr. Hotto? Not one single ounce of concern. I know good and well that he's heard the horn blow dozens and dozens of times at all hours of the day and all hours of the night. I got another neighbor within rocks throwing distance from here. I know that he's heard the horn blow at all hours of the day and all hours of the night. I know that I've got a neighbor right up the road there. In the old Sonny Cooper house. Right there where that mailbox is, where the black truck is. I know that they've heard the horn blowing dozens and dozens of times, day and night. But to get Don Nelson, to get Mr. Petty, Dennis Petty, or to get Mr. Hotto to walk off into this family feud. And the thing about it is, it's really not a family feud. Because I could care less what they do on the other side of the road. As long as there's not children involved. I don't care if they beat and brutalize one another to death. As long as there's children not involved. And that's the part that Ridgeway just don't get. And the fact that we're living in the 21st century and now everybody and their brother, except him, has a device that can record all this nonsense out here. And you don't see nobody stepping up to the plate involved in law enforcement in this area because they're ashamed. They're ashamed that they've let it go on and on and on as long as they have, and that they've never had a resolution. They've never solved the problem. And the reason why that they didn't solve the problem is because they was beating the horse on the wrong end. Instead of going after the true perpetrator or perpetrators that's been involved in all this anti-Semitism, they went after the very one that's been vandalized and victimized the whole time. So, in essence, Tommy Moore, Mike Wilson, all these law enforcement agencies around here have sat back and watched somebody get raped again and again and again. No, it wasn't sexual rape, but there's more rape other than just sexual rape. You can rape somebody and never touch them. You can victimize somebody and never touch them. And that's the part that the morons, the heathens, the idiots, and the so-called law enforcement agencies around here don't get. And they could care less. Because Juby was a Juby. And Juby didn't give to the political party. And Juby was raised up on the wrong side of the railroad tracks. And Juby's got a big mouth. And he ain't nothing but an instigator because he talks a lot. And Juby tries to get to the bottom of things pertaining to what went on in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, pertaining to today being the anniversary thereof. And Juby gets to the bottom of things towards what went on down in Mount Carmel, outside Waco, Texas. Juby's a troublemaker because Juby wants to get to the truth. Because Juby wants to find a resolution to all these problems. Juby, they see Juby as Juby being the problem versus being the solution to the problem. And the reason why they see Juby as Juby being the problem is because Juby keeps wanting a solution to the problem. And there's nobody that's got a solution to the problem. None of these law enforcement agencies around here locally has the solution to the problem. None of the law enforcement agencies, either in the state of Tennessee or Oklahoma or Kentucky or in Georgia or in North Carolina or in other parts of the country, has a solution to the problem. Nobody in the White House has a solution to the problem. But Juby keeps being violated, tormented, agitated, aggravated. I'm really surprised Donald Ridgeway didn't lay down on the horn. He must not have thought that I was in the car because of the raindrops, and he just didn't see me. Because if he knowed that I was out here, I could just about bet your and my bottom dollar that he would have purposely been laying down on the horn just to get his jollies off. A 70-year-old man. That's the only way that he can get his jollies off, is by agitating and stalking and being a creeper. The man gives me the woolies. And to think that his wife goes down there and sits with them while they're eating and wants to pick from the best before anybody even has time to sit down and eat. Alamo Baptist Church deserves the Ridgeways and the Sheffields as predominant citizens to their church, because the way that they have walked away from not only a righteous, holy God, but the way that they have let this sever and sift and just get just like a pulsated sore to the ass of society. Alamo Baptist Church deserves Donald Ridgeway and Gail Ridgeway and the Sheffield family and any other family around here that's hooked on drugs or alcohol, and all they think of is wanting to jump from bedroom to bedroom and be polluted with all their narcotics and all their corruption. You keep in mind, I'm not but about a quarter of a mile, maybe a half at the very most, from one of the most corrupt, occult, I guess probably one of the worst in the world, called the Wiccans. And you can't tell me that all this trouble that has befallen, all the way to a dead brother that I had to help to pull out of that trailer 2 years ago, just long about this time, long about Easter, is when my brother died. And then about 10 days later, I got arrested. But you can't tell me that this all is not part of a demonic, dark, sorcery environment, a toxic environment that helped to put a 51-year-old man in an early grave. A 51-year-old man, while everybody was laughing and mocking and hee-hawing and kicking their heels up. And instead of blaming themselves, they was blaming Juby. And the whole time, Juby come back to help his brother. Juby come back to help the neighborhood. Juby come back to help the people that was in darkness. But once more, you can't liberate a group of people that don't understand or identify that they need to be liberated, because they're so far into whatever that they're into, regardless whether it be perverted sex or drugs or alcohol or workaholics, whatever that they're into. They're so blinded that they don't realize that they need to be liberated, including the vast majority of the preachers, the deacons, and the church folks in this surrounding area. No wonder they continue to kick me out of their synagogues, just like they done to the prophets of old. For Jesus said, "For so shall your reward be great in heaven," because of being abused and persecuted like this. I'll probably release this message after Easter, because I don't feel like that it's appropriate for me to issue out this message basically on Good Friday. Tomorrow's Saturday, the 20th. Easter's on the 21st. So I'll probably wait later on throughout the week to release this particular video of the red Suburban, creeping by here real slow, and then stopping, and then backing up, then pulling up, then backing up, then pulling into his driveway, and then backing back out, and then creeping real slow. As I have said before, and I'll say again, the man has weaponized that 7-acre piece of property that if it was not for Miss Hill, he would have basically stole it for about $2,500, maybe $3,000. But because she went up to the courthouse and bid it against him, he had to give $7,000 for a 7-acre piece of lot, which is basically nothing but a dilapidated piece of ground that's hilly and got a gully through it, and it's basically good for what he's using it for, which is to park a bunch of junk over there on. If it was me, I would at least fence it off and maybe raise some goats. That way the goats would help to keep the vegetation cleaned off. But this 70-year-old man hadn't got enough sense to know that, or to do that, or to care about that. Like I said, his pockets is full. He's got big, thick bank accounts. He's got a home up there in Martin, Tennessee, probably worth every bit of $250,000, just sitting there. Nobody's living in it. A garage. What is the garage? 40 by 60, 2-story high, cinder block garage. He's got all kinds of money. He stole it from all the people up there in Chicago working in the heating and cooling industry, and poked all his money back down here in the South. In the meantime, he just plays games with people. He's a real jerk. Somebody like this deserves to go to jail forever, for life, the way that they have tormented innocent people. I thank God. I'm going to say it one more time. I thank God that people like Danny D and other people that had mental challenges growing up, that Donald Ridgway and Donald Ridgway's family and the Sheffield family and other heathenistic, evil, demonic people did not live in this area during the time that we had mentally challenged people here. Because if they did, if they was, they would have probably done them the way that whatever group it was up there in Chicago that took that mentally challenged guy and made him drink his own urine and his own, you know what, out of a urine. There's some people that are so disgusted, that are so demented, that are so heathenistic, that there's really not proper words to describe towards what kind of people that these people are. There's nothing in the Webster's dictionary that defies what type of people that would do this. Goes beyond bad people. Bad people are just bad people. But to continue to do this again and again and again. I've been here now for 4 years. 4 years. And it ain't slowed down and it ain't stopped. And I don't look for it to until God decides to strike that guy down with a major heart attack or an aneurysm or a stroke and puts his body to death and takes his soul and casts it to hell. In which I don't wish for nobody to go to hell. Nobody. But to continue to do this and to think that you're going to do it and get away with it as many times as he's done it, and for the neighbors to sit by and watch it and laugh and be tickled and get their jollies off by watching Donald Ridgway get his jollies off. Oh, there's going to be a judgment day coming that hell don't even know the vocabulary of, for all these people that has said idly by. And either indirectly didn't do nothing, or directly could have done something that didn't do nothing. There's going to be a new vocabulary in the essence of pain and suffering and misery coming out of hell for people that has sat back and done stuff like this to God's creation and to God's people. Once more, this video will go after Easter, because I don't want something like this to affect not only me, but to affect some of my viewers that may get a hold of this and have a negative reaction. Because, you know, it's, and I have said this before, it's extraordinarily difficult to be humble, gracious, polite, and professional whenever you're steadily having to swat with one hand towards trying to be pleasing to society, while you're steadily swatting with the other hand towards trying to knock the demons and the devils out of your way, while you're trying to survive because there ain't nobody else that's going to knock them out of your way for you. If I was depending on the Weakley County Sheriff's Department that Mike Wilson is a part of, once more, I would be waiting till hell froze over. If I was waiting for Mr. Pence or Mr. Tommy Moore, that's in charge of this district, this territory, for them to do the right thing about what's been going on out here, once more, I would be waiting till hell froze over. These are not moral men that I'm discussing and talking to you about, to my viewers. These are not moral men. They do not have moral opinions or moral views to sit back and allow for the innocent to be taken advantage of like this again and again and again. And to think that they walk up to their positions every morning, honoring themselves, looking in the mirror at their $20 tie, their $40 shirt, and their $80 vest that they put on, or whatever that they put on, their $160 Red Wing black shoes, and walk around thinking that they've got more righteousness about them than the Lord himself. Oh, what a tangled web that these people do weave when first they look and realize that they've been deceived. I'm just afraid that a lot of them, the day that they wake up in a flaming eternity, that will be the day that they realize we have been deceived about Juby. We have been deceived about Juby's intent, Juby's morals, Juby's passion, Juby's consistentness towards trying to get a message out to the general public. They will wake up in torment where the worm dieth not, where their soul will scorch forever and forever and forever. And then they'll realize, oh my God, I've been deceived, haven't I? Right. You, along with millions and trillions of others that thought that you was following after the light, and the whole time you was following after a example of a hallucination, something that gave the appearance of being right. But the whole time, it was all surrounding greed and self-interest that didn't have nothing at all to do with a holy, righteous, merciful God. Good luck to all of us. We must plan to the pull and pull to the plan if we plan on merging and getting out of this condemnation that the devil has planted in front of us. Thank you.